Alright guys, welcome to vertical angles and linear pairs. Today we're going to review how to solve for angles that are vertical and how to solve angles that are linear pairs. So as a quick reminder, vertical angles are congruent. And they're also opposites. Just positionally wise, they're opposite. And linear pairs are two adjacent angles that add up to 180. So we'll keep these two definitions in mind as we go through our examples. So for these problems, we're going to identify whether the relationship is vertical or linear. So that's step one, and then we're going to solve. So identify and then solve. All right, looking at the first I do. All right, so I have these two angles right here. I have this angle, and then I have this angle. All right, so these two angles are vertical angles. So part one, vertical. And vertical, in case we forget, are opposite angles. Right, so this angle is opposite of this angle, the same vertex, but they're on opposite sides. And the special relationship is that they're opposite but equal. Opposite and congruent. So that means when you set up your equation, your two angles should be set equal to each other. So not adding up to 180, but setting equal to each other. So we have 6x is equal to 4x plus 8. Solve for x minus 4x minus 4x. 2x equals 8. Divide by 2, divide by 2. And x equals 4. So I found one of it, right? Solve for x equals 4. Cool. But it also wants one of the angles. And you might be asking, well, which angle do I solve for? Well, let's see. If I plug x into maybe the sixth one, 6x, 6 parentheses 4, that will give me 24. That's one of the angles. But if one is 24, do I need to plug it into the other one? Remember, by definition, vertical angles are congruent. That means if this angle is 24, the other angle is also 24. And if you plug it back in, you'll see that I'm correct. All right, moving on to the we do, solving for x and angle DEG. So let's first identify. So let's maybe mark out our angles. So we have this angle that we have, and we also have this other angle. Go ahead and identify this angle. I'll give you about 5 seconds. What is the relationship between the blue and the red angle? The blue and red angles are linear pairs. And linear pairs add up to 180. I'm just reminding myself, because that's also in our definition up here. So now when we set up the equation for this one, the equation's a little bit different because we'll set them up equal to 180. So 7x minus 3 plus 12x minus 7 will be equal to 180. And again, noting the difference between these two setups, right? This was an adding up to 180, this was equal to each other, and we set them up based on their relationships. That means we can solve this one by combining like terms. 19x minus 10 equals 180 plus 10 plus 10. 19x equals 190, and then x equals 10. Dividing both sides by 19. Alright, I guess I should have paused and let you try that, but that's fine. Alright, go ahead and find angle DEG. So go ahead and pause the video and find angle DEG. Go ahead. Alright, I hope you've tried in good honesty to try angle DEG. Otherwise, we're not practicing and we don't get our skills in. So DEG is right here. So I'm going to plug in 10 for x. So 7 parentheses 10 minus 3. 70 minus 3. 67 degrees. So x was one of the answers, and an angle DEG was 67 degrees. And even though it's not asking for it, I can find the other angle GEF if I wanted to go GEF. would just be 180 minus 67, which I can't do math, but that's 113. Right, and that's quick math. That's without me plugging it in. All right, and moving on to the last one, solving for x and for y. Ooh, this one's a toughie. So this one's a little bit challenging. Go ahead and take a look at this one and see how you would approach it. I'm gonna give you about 15 seconds, so the video will be quiet for about 15 seconds. Take a look at the problem, process it, and see how you would set this up, because this one is challenging. Alright, I hope you had a chance to think through this. If you didn't and you're just waiting for me to answer, then just know that you're cheating yourself out of your learning, and that's your choice. Alright, so if I'm solving for this one, I would first have to look at this blue one and this other blue one, right? This blue one is going to be vertical because they're opposite of each other. And then in order to find y, this red one, this red angle, the red and the blue are linear pairs. So for this one, there's actually two labels. The first label is the blue ones are vertical. The second one is that the blue one and the red ones are linear pairs. So in order to find the red one, you need the blue one. So we probably shouldn't find y first. We should probably find what x is first to help us find y. Alright, so let's set up our equation for x, please. So look at the two blue vertical angles and set up your equation for x. It should look like the first one, like the I do. Go ahead and try to set yours up. I'll give you about 10 seconds. Alright, so when setting up our x equation, our vertical angles equations, we'll have 2x plus 25 is equal to 3x minus 10. Now we're combining or moving the variable to the other side, so minus 2x minus 2x. That's x minus 10 equals 25 plus 10 plus 10. X equals 35. So I found x. Now in order to find y, again, the relationship between x and y, between these two angles, is that they are linear pairs. So now I'm going to set up these two, a second equation, to be equal to 180. Very good, because linear pairs add up to 180. So let's set up y plus 3x minus 10 equals 180. But, I just found x. Ooh, I just found x. So y plus 3 parentheses 35 minus 10 equals 180. Y plus 105 minus 10 equals 180. Y plus 95 equals 180. And y equals 85. Right? I'm not giving you time to do the math. I'm just focused on the setup. This setup was super important, and you need to know how we got the setup. And this setup was super important, because in this example, we used both vertical and linear pairs. All right, thank you for paying attention. Good luck.